What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about TOSHI today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 6th day of September. Here we are at about 30573, and I wanted to make this update to say that I'm starting to think that we have not found our low. You know, last we talked about TOSHI, I want to say it was either this day or this day here. It was looking like we had found our low. Even after this drop, I still had some optimism because we were just finding support in prior areas, but we're getting such a weak reaction here, and we are getting some wicks to the upside. Looking at the charts, you know, earlier today, I was thinking, we probably do go a little bit lower, but we're almost there. We're almost there. So, unfortunately, lower lows are back on the menu tonight. If we're looking at this here from a high to low, and maybe not tonight, but this week, high to low here, perhaps what we do is we go right to that 382, which is just below that low there. We might see some kind of slightly lower double bottom look at about 30535, 30534, somewhere in that zone. Okay, can we go just below this yellow line? Absolutely. Does it mean that we're broken and defeated if we go below it? Absolutely not. So something in that area is what I would anticipate. I very much wouldn't be surprised if we hit that area. You know, we'll continue to do some analysis and see if we can come up with other targets or something that's congruent with that decision there. So let's look at the 1 hour time frame. Looking at the 1 hour here, 3057 is the current price, right? We're looking at this with our indicators, handy dandy indicators. The RSI honestly does look pretty bullish. Getting overbought, not getting oversold. Getting overbought, not getting oversold. Back up here, we are finding resistance at an area that you found resistance before. Maybe not recently, but a little bit back here, you know, at various times. I like the posturing overall, so I'm not actually bearish on this 1 hour RSI. That's kind of nice. That's actually a good thing to see. But it's just the 1 hour, so that's not enough to be overly excited about, right? Stochastics actually do look kind of bullish as well. Yes, you rejected the overbought zone, but you're slowly climbing up, which anytime you turn around, typically that means you go oversold if you turn around before you actually get overbought, but you've been holding up pretty well, so as long as you're doing that, I think that you're okay. Maybe you do go up a little bit higher. I don't like the wicks. I don't like the rejections, the lower highs. I don't like that. The MACD is crossing above the zero. All your 1 hour indicators do imply that you'd have higher prices to go. I'm not going to lie. They do imply that you have higher prices. So, you know, as far as the 1 hour time frame is concerned, maybe by the end of the day, even going into tomorrow, we could see some higher prices from here. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're out of the woods. Doesn't mean that we're absolved of going lower than this low. Okay. 4 hour time frame here. Looking at it, you know, I gotta admit, I like the 4 hour RSI as well. Overall, like really since let's say August 15th, since about a month ago, I don't like it. It's kind of more bearishly inclined than bullishly inclined. But right here, we've got this higher low, higher high kind of positioning. You know, it looks good. It actually does look good. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe we're not going lower, you guys. That's actually not a bad look. Higher lows, higher highs. That's a really good channel. And we're at the base of this channel. And normally I wouldn't like that we have two lows right here at the base. I would think that means we're going to break through. But we've got two lows here. We've got two lows there. We've got two lows here even. And they upheld each time before. So I don't know. And overall, we are living below the 50 still. Overall, it is still a kind of bearish look in the RSI. But the posturing is nice. I have to admit the posturing is nice. What I don't like is that you have a high here and a lower high, and you have a high here and a higher high. That is hidden bearish divergence. What I do like is you've already had your move down. Let's look at this with the relative fibs on it from this relative low to relative high. Low to high here. You're hitting that 786. It's so volatile, so very volatile. I'm not getting much off of this. I will say though, I like the RSI. I actually do. I might be wrong. Maybe we had it right originally. Maybe that is the low. I don't know what I was looking at earlier. I must have just been in a bad mood or something. Looking at the stochastics too, you've got a nice posturing. You do have higher lows here as well. You look like you want to go to the overbought zone. That's nice. That's actually pretty nice. Not gonna lie. And the MACD as well, building bullish momentum. Now okay, here's something, right? Here's something that's not so good is that we've been green for a while, right? Not that you could stay green for months. Who knows how long you could go green for? You know, you don't have to see any kind of red at all. But this is probably going to come to an end sooner than later, and I wouldn't be surprised if you hit that zero and then came down. Maybe as soon as you get up to your overbought zone, then you come down. As soon as you get up to your overbought zone, then you come down, something like that. But will that, if you're moving up higher, when you do come down, will that promote a lower low, or will that be a higher low, I guess, is the question. You know, I wouldn't be surprised, just looking at this here, if we did move up some more. So if we're going to move up, where are we going to go? Let's look at it like that. We'll take this low to high. See, this is what was making me bearish, was looking at the 1272 getting rejected here. twice, right? I don't like that. If you went up above it, that's okay. That's why this drop didn't really matter, right? It was still a higher low, but now you're getting rejected twice and you have lower highs. That's not good in itself as far as fibs go. But if you are to move higher, if the indicators are not lying and the fib is lying, the fib's fibbing, let's see, 3062 to 30676 would be the area that would be intended. You get above 30676 and we're validated in saying that this is the low. You get back down to this low at all, I mean, the chances of bouncing in this area are high. Bouncing at lower prices, even at like 305 itself, are pretty high as well. So I wouldn't think that we go too much below, if at all below 305. But if we get down there, that's probably the area that we bounce from, okay? I like the indicators, man. I don't like the fibs, and I do rely on the fibs a lot, but the indicators are painting a kind of different picture. Indicators like the stochastics and the MACD, though, let's be fair, they are less reliable when you're moving sideways, and we have been moving sideways for the past couple of days, so might say something to what we should rely on there. Maybe the fibs are more reliable. The price action too, just looking at this, it makes me think, that's not the reaction we had when we had a low. That was, right? We had a low here even, that was the reaction we had. We had a low here and that was the reaction. But afterwards we did kind of grind and then we moved up, to be completely fair. I don't know. But that wasn't like the low. That was after the low. This is not even, we don't even know if we're at the low yet, right? You've grinded before. That's, you grinded down here even. That's fine. So, I don't know. Daily stochastics look bearish. The RSI is neutral, but you kind of have a, you're at this area where you've bounced before. I guess that's positive. And the MACD is bearish as well. 2 out of 3 bearish. That's not a good look in itself. The 4 hour and the 1 hour really do contest the idea that we go lower, but I suppose time will tell. Regardless of what happens, you're at 30572 right now. The lowest I think that we go to is 305, and I don't even think we get down that low, but that's the lowest that I would give it. Where I would assume we go, probably, was it 00053? 000535 to 000534, somewhere in that area. 0005 itself at the lowest. Okay, I doubt that we go any lower than that. I doubt we go below that low. And then from there, we'll start to move back up. Is this a running flat pattern? I don't know. I don't know if it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe. I don't know if it is. It's kind of weird if it is. But it is. I think that we are postured in a very bullish way to see higher prices. Inevitably, TOSHI, you're not just going to see 2 zeros, 1, 2, or 2 zeros, 1, 8. You're going to continue to rally all the way up to about half a cent to 81% of a cent. If not even higher, you really could go higher, but I'm thinking somewhere around 005 to 008 sounds appropriate. 007, 0069, that's my personal target area. We'll see. But I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Keep your heads on a swivel. I'm not completely convinced, as I was in the beginning of the video, I'm not completely convinced that we are going to go lower. I wouldn't be surprised. For now, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to keep the call that we have found the low. I'm going to keep that call. I could be wrong. But that 4 hour and that 1 hour have me excited enough. The daily's at areas where you could expect it to turn around, even though it looks kind of negative. There's excitement enough for us to find support here. I want to see how we do over the coming days, going into this next week, and maybe in another 3 days the charts will tell us if we're up. Cool. If we're still consolidating like this, we probably do come down a little bit more. If we've moved down in that time, well, cool. We're probably at the low anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We'll be moving up, but between now and the next few days or even the next week, at some point we're going to have resolution one way or another, and we should be moving up in a matter of no time at all. Dramatically higher prices await. Just got to be patient for that. Buy the dip while it's here, and I'll see you on the next one, okay? Hit that like button. Take care. Bye-bye.